From London to Taiwan, I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Okay, so all I did was put the ground side of my test light right to where this harness is grounded out, right there on the engine block, and I poked into this wire, which I believed would be the actual power. I poked into this one as well, and as soon as I poked into it, it tried to shut the engine right off, so I was grounding it out. So this one would probably, in my guess, run to my hour meter, because that probably runs up to the plug, and when you ground out a spark plug, that's what'll shut the engine right down, and that probably goes to the hour meter, because that's usually the easiest way to hook up an hour meter on any machine. You just run it right to the spark plug wire, which actually it comes up and it's a black wire. And the other reason that I realized that is, you see that coil right there? That's the hour meter. So whenever you buy an aftermarket hour meter, for those of you that don't know, and you put it on an engine, you put it on a push mower, even anything, all you do is you take the other end of it, the wire that comes off the hour meter, and you wrap it around the spark plug wire, like this is right here, and the hour meter will automatically come on, and it'll start counting the hours of the machine. So that confirmed what I thought, that was probably for the hour meter. I just wanted to test it to make sure, and it did. It went right out. As you saw in the video, as soon as I poked into this light, or this wire right here, which was red, and I assumed automatically that should be power, but you never know, the test light came right on. The light lit up inside the test light. That's my power. That's where I'm going to pull power from for this PowerChute. So this here is the PowerChute we will be using for this mower. If you guys haven't watched yesterday's video, the thumbnail was multiple PowerChutes, and then there's a little bit on there about the dually, but go back and watch it, and I fully explain all three of these PowerChutes, the electrical kit for it, the mounting hardware is what you will see here, and how it's put on and how it's wired in, but you'll see the details of all that. So I strongly encourage you to go back and watch that. But this is the one we will be needing for this mower. Okay, so here we are, and I've mentioned this before in other videos with PowerChute's design. The motors that come on these things are old. They're like window motors from old Chevy Caprices, a lot of older Chevy vehicles. But if you ever do need another one of these motors, they put, PowerChute design puts right on their instructions, Napa's part number, O'Reilly and AutoZone's part number, which is the same, and then Advanced Auto's part number. So if you go to any one of them part stores, you can order one of these. I've also found them in the past on eBay for like $24 to $27. It's a cheap motor. I do have a couple spares. Now, that being said, I have been told by other people that have used PowerChute that they have replaced their motor, their PowerChute motor, with one of these other ones. And they say that they definitely don't hold up or don't last as long as the one from PowerChute. I don't know what the difference is. I don't know where PowerChute gets theirs versus the part stores get theirs, but I have heard that. So if you do go that route, just know that there is that possibility it won't hold up versus just ordering another one from PowerChute. But like I said, 3 years, 4 years, 3 years, a little over 3 years, we'll just go with that. I had it on the Walker B and never burnt one out. And that's with pressure washing my mowers at the end of each week. I don't spray right at the motor, but pressure washing them, everything, never an issue. So just know that if you decide to go that route. Now, like I had mentioned in yesterday's video, there is the option, and this is what I have on my Toro Grandstand, it's what I had on the Walker B, there is the toggle switch. And like I said, it's just a momentary switch. It's a waterproof switch, and it goes both ways to raise the PowerChute up, put it down, and you can just tap it lightly and stop it anywhere in between. It'll hold. This is what I've always used. But I've also mentioned to you guys there is the foot pedal option, and I showed you in yesterday's video. This is the first one I've ever had. So it's the same thing. It's like a momentary switch, only for your foot. One way, the other way. That's it. And you can stop it in between just like the toggle. That being said, I also mentioned in yesterday's video, that's why I said, go back and look at yesterday's video if you haven't. A lot of very valuable information there. Some I will share again here, and some you'll just have to go back and watch that. the plug. Here's the plug for the toggle switch style, okay? Here's the plug for the foot pedal style. It's exactly the same. Right here is where the plug plugs into the motor, and that's exactly the same on every single PowerChute, no matter what machine it's for, no matter what size it is. The plug on the motor is the same. The plugs on the toggles are the same. The plugs on the foot pedals are the same. So they're interchangeable. My idea for this is, instead of putting a toggle switch on here, I want to mount this foot pedal on the back, either right here, over there, somewhere. It's got to be out of the way of my Velky that's going on there. So I want to mount it out of the way. Might even go up and down. I haven't decided yet which way I'm going to do it, but it's going to be back here, and I'm going to try using the foot pedal instead of the toggle switch like I've used on the others. If I decide that I don't like that and it doesn't work for me, at any time, all I have to do, I'll mount it, of course, but just take the wire off, unplug it from there, plug in a toggle switch, route that up to wherever I want it, and I'm good to go. So you can change it out anytime you want if you decide you don't like one system over the other. The universal capabilities of PowerChute's designs is one of the things that really draws me to using their chute blockers. Now, when you order one of these from Alex, you will get everything in the kit that you need. He even includes all the zip ties for your wiring all the way up through. You don't have to buy your own. Everything is included in the package. So however you route it, he gives you tips on how to route your wiring to keep it away from anywhere that may burn the wiring, may fray it, may cut it, may chip it, anything like that. And he advises to be very careful about where you're routing your wiring. But he does give you the zip ties so that you can do that. He also gives the hardware. Now, most mounting hardware are just the bolts and the nuts when you drill the hole through to mount your the PowerChute in itself right to it. Now, the one way, like I said in yesterday's video, he has never had one for one of these mowers, and the reason being is because the deck only comes out so far with a 36-inch mower, and with the motor facing backwards like they normally do, it would hit the frame and it would become a problem. So what he did when he designed this one for me was he just made the top mounting part bigger, and of course it's going to sit right over top of that. Okay, I'm going to have to take these out and move this chute blocker over to, you can see here, it's on the outside of that mount. Same here. So I'll unbolt it and move it over so it's on the opposite side of that mount, and that'll shift my chute blocker that way some, which is what I'm going to need, because even with it up against right there, I'm plenty covered over here, but I have a gap back here still, so it'll make up for that. Now, that being said, there's no way for me to actually mount this to this deck right here, because I can't put it flat on there. One, it'd be way too low, to stick out too far. So what Alex did was he came up with another style, and this is how I'm going to use it to mount on here, and it's also going to be the same style for my SCAG V-Ride too. So he sent these bolts with these metal cylinders, and what will happen is I will drill a hole through the top of here, drill a hole through the deck there, and when I run the bolt down through, these spacers will sit in between to hold me where I need to be, so it's up high enough, and it'll still do its job. I have plenty of clearance back here with the deck going up and down. It will never hit the frame, and everything will work out perfectly. Okay, so what I'm doing is that's going to be about where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a hole, or make a mark right there, make another mark right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill holes down through that bracket, down through that bracket, or down through the bracket in each spot. Once I do that, then I'm going to put this cylinder up underneath it and set it back on there. And once I do that, I'm going to run my drill bit straight down through and make a little mark on the deck, pull these off, and drill my hole through the deck. Doing it that way will ensure, I mean, you can do it other ways, but it will ensure that I'm following the same hole at the same pitch straight down through. And it'll keep me in the same spot versus if I drill the hole through there, put this on there, try to make a circle around there or something, and then try to get my spot right in the middle. It'll just be much easier. Drill my hole in here, stick this under there, set that on there, run my drill bit straight down through. Hit the trigger a couple times, make a little mark on the deck, pull this back off, my mark will be there, drill my hole through, and I'll be set for mounting. Okay, so this might be what is a little bit of a tricky part, and this actually might be easier to do with 2 people. But I'm a little stubborn, so I don't really have a need for doing it with 2 people, because I'm going to be stubborn and do it by myself. But you put these cylinders underneath here, like I was saying, and you line them up, and you make sure you have this chute blocker exactly where you want it. Once you do, take the drill bit, straight down to the deck. Just gotta turn a couple times just to make yourself that mark. That's it. Now I should have a mark in both spots, which I do. So, probably can't really see that. Let me see if I can show you closer. So, I have a mark right there for that one. Mark right there for that one. Now I know where to drill my holes. I can drill them through and get this mounted. Okay, so here we go. We have the holes drilled. They're in place. And now all it is, and I have the holes in my bracket. All it is putting these up under there, lining them up with those holes, and then the supplied hardware that comes through it bolts down through with the lock nut on it. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to run them straight through. It would have a cleaner look up top if I did, but if I run them straight through, they might stick down further than I want them to at the bottom of this deck. And with grass flow coming out, if you have the bolts sticking down too far, stuff will build up on there. If I run them up through, I can put the nut on the top, still have a pretty clean look. There's nothing that they can get in the way of, so I'm not worried about that. But it'll keep from stuff building up on the bottom of them out at the opening of the deck. Okay, and now it's mounted on there. Now this, you pull this end off here, like that. There is your attachment point, which goes right in, just like that. And what this will do is that controls it as the motor turns the gear in there. This piece rises up and down and pushes the grass flap down or brings the grass flap up. It comes with the supplied pin that goes through and cotter pin. Now you're going to notice one thing different on here, especially those who've been following me and seen the PowerChute on my Toro grandstand and the PowerChute on my Walker B. All of these PowerChutes, one of the things I really love about them, but I highly disliked about the advanced PowerChute when I tried that one, the advanced, or not even PowerChute, the advanced chute it's called. What I highly disliked is when it came up, it stuck out at an angle. And it was on a 56-inch side discharge deck. In some gates, I could just barely get my 56 through, which gave me a problem because with it sticking out at an angle, I couldn't get through. So here is the deal with this. Because the design of this deck and because Alex had to fabricate this and make it a little bit different, I believe what he told me was it'll only come up to about right there. So it's not perfectly straight, but it's pretty darn close. It would only have about another inch to go before it was straight up. So it's about now 3/4 of an inch to an inch before it would be straight up. It just, I don't believe, and he doesn't believe that it will actually come up all the way. Just because the way he had to design this and reverse the motor. But on all other PowerChute designs, When the motor is the opposite way, like I've showed you on my other ones, this flap does come all the way straight up. So that's not an issue at all. But the yards that I need this for, I can easily fit a 36 in. Some of them I can't fit much over a 36, like I definitely cannot get a 48 in, but I can easily fit a 36. So this being to where it would be up and out at a slight angle isn't really going to make a difference. And I could just put it straight down, and that will probably take up for about that extra inch. So it's not going to be a concern for me. Just know that if you go with this style on a 36-inch SCAG, you may run into this issue, but it is not an issue on every other machine. Okay, so I changed my mind, and this is actually, I didn't stage this, I didn't set this up. I was sitting here for like 15 minutes off camera, playing around with it, looking at different ideas, thinking about that bracket that he sent me, like I showed in yesterday's video. Where are the brackets? Here are the extra brackets. Let's see if I can pull one out here real quick. Okay. He's got a whole ton of these brackets he'll send you if you would rather go this route. It has a hole right there to put the toggle switch in, okay? And then it has this U-bolt bracket, so you can pretty much put it on any round surface and up, down, wherever, however you want it. And you could have the toggle there, right? So it's not, you're not putting it in any specific place. So I thought about putting it right here, but then I'd have to route the wires on this side because it can't be where these locks are. Okay, these locks free up your controls. So it can't be where those locks are, which go underneath. So I'd have to route around there. But then once I got to this point, I have to bring it straight across and hope it would hold with zip ties and run it down through there, behind this safety handle, and down. What a total pain. So what I started looking at is this whole piece right here. There's nothing behind there, nothing moves, nothing gets in his way. So I think what I'm gonna do, instead of that foot pedal, I am gonna save that for the Exmark Laser Z, and I'm gonna put that in the platform. I think it would be best on there. That was my original idea. That's what Alex and I had talked about. I think I'm gonna save it for there. I am gonna put a toggle switch on this one, and I'm gonna put it right there. So what I'll be doing, I can take a hand off this, which is fine because the way this works is there's a safety on each side. As long as you have one of them pressed down, it's fine. The mower won't shut off, it won't stop. It's when you let go of both. So you only have to have one pressed down. So I can, as long as I have my hand on there, I can pull the hand off here, flick the toggle switch right back on. Really not a big deal. That's what I do with the grandstand, because I have the switch right there on the side of the main console that comes up. If you guys remember that video, if you don't, go check it out. But I have the toggle right there, so I just pull one hand off one of the controls anyway. I slide, and you guys know how standards are, the controls come up both sides. When I need to use the PowerChute, I just slide my hand up over both of them. I ride it one-handed, use my other hand and flick the toggle. No big deal, super simple. So based off that same concept, that's what I'm going to do. I thought about putting it in here. I really don't want to. I have great real estate right there or on this side. I'm right-handed, so is Billy. I'm going to put it right here. So the toggle switch will come up to the bottom there, it won't be in the way, and it'll just be the switch right there. And it'll make it real easy for me to route my wires down the inside, hidden behind everything, right up to here. Tap into my power source right there, run the other one over, plug it in, down the road I go. Okay, so like I said, the toggle switch is right there. I brought the wiring all the way down. This harness goes all the way up and goes to the hour meter that's over there. It goes to the key switch and it goes to the PTO. So I just zip tied my harness all the way down, followed that same harness down, and then I tapped into my power right there. I don't like using these clips. I usually never use them, but I tapped into that right there, and as long as I don't have any issues, I'll leave it that way. If I do, I'll take that off, I'll split the wire, I'll solder it, and then I'll use the liquid electrical tape over top of it. But that should be fine for right now. I put my ground right where the existing ground went, right to that bolt, so that should be fine for the ground. And then I ran the other part of the harness down through the hole where this harness goes, And all you do is you look under there and you find somewhere to zip tie it to where it won't be in the way of any pulleys, belts, anything like that. So that's what I did. Routed it right up, out from underneath, and plugged it in right to the motor. I made sure I left enough slack. What I did was I put the deck all the way down, put my wire in, zip tied it so it was nice and tight. So now when I raise the deck up, because the deck will never be all the way down, so I raise the deck up, and whatever height I cut at, it'll definitely have enough slack in the wire, but not enough that it'll get in the way of anything. And that's how you set it so that it'll never pull tight and rip the plug out. So now all I got to do is start it up, hit the switch, make sure everything works, and make sure that my switch is, see, it's still loose in there like I said. Make sure that it's going in the direction I want it to. If not, just turn it around, then tighten it down, and I'll be good to go. So you've seen it go up and down, works perfectly fine. It is set the way that I need it to be. So now I'll just tighten this down and I'll be good to go. So as you guys can see, very simple. There's really nothing to it. Yeah, you have to drill into the deck. I know there's a lot of other chute blockers out there on the market that have the no drill mounts. I'm not sure if that's even an option for PowerChute, if Alex has anything like that, but to me, it's no big deal. And I know a lot of people they frown upon that. They don't want to, especially on a brand new mower, but this mower is to serve a purpose. It's to work, it's to make me money, and that's what I have to do to get what I want, and that's what I have to do. I've never seen that as a big deal for me, but you do have to drill into it. This one I wanted to get out of the way first, out of the videos I'll be making, showing different ways of mounting these chute blockers. Like I said, I did one already for the Walker B years ago when I did that. I did one for the Toro Grandstand last year. And I wanted to get this out of the way because this was the specialty one. This is the first time I've ever hooked one up, not having a battery. I wanted to show that you can do it. That's been a question a lot of people have asked me. Another big question a lot of people have asked me is, can I still run a grass catcher off the side of my mower with using this type of chute blocker? Because certain ones you can, like the Quick Chute, I know you can on most units. I can't on this, okay? So I know that the way this mount is and the way this is set up, I can't still use a grass catcher off the side. Now, my Toro Grandstand, the way that one's mounted, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that I tried it and I can still use the grass catcher. For me, it's not really an issue because I have the Exmark Laser Z that has the full bagging system, and I'm only going to have that on in the fall when I'm bagging leaves, and I might have it on in the spring for a little while when I'm bagging grass, if need be, if that happens. But at that point, all I have to do is take out 2 bolts, unplug the harness, and zip tie the harness there somewhere so it's not in the way and I can throw it on. So that's not really an issue. And the same thing with the SCAG V-Ride 2. The only time I'll probably be running the bagging system on that is in the fall. And again, at the same time, I won't need the chute blocker. I don't use a chute blocker for mulching. I know some guys do that. I don't. But that's just because I'm not a fan of gator blades or any type of mulching blades, so I really don't need it on there. For the little bit of mulching I'll be doing in the springtime, I can use a chute blocker and drop it down, and I can still mulch with it. But most of the time, everything I do is side discharge and double cut if I need to. But I need this chute blocker on all my mowers because I have a lot of properties that have flower beds, vehicles, houses with a lot of windows, things like that. That's where this comes in handy. That's where I really need this, and that's the main purpose for it, to stop things from flying out of the deck and going where you don't want them to go. A lot of them do serve the purpose to mulch at certain capabilities. Chute blockers are not really designed for mulching. Mulching decks are designed for mulching. So I've never really mulched with a chute blocker because you get a lot of clumping and they just don't work the way they're supposed to unless you have an actual mulching kit on the mower. So the main purpose is to keep it from going places I don't want it to go. Everything coming out of the deck. That's why I have them. That's why I need them. So again, like I said, 2 bolts, you pop them out and unplug the harness. You don't have to cut any wiring, resplice any guy. You just unplug it. That's it. So to take this off is no big deal. come off super easy, and I can switch to bagging, put the bagging systems on if I need to. Those of you guys that don't have the bagging systems, that only run chute blockers, this may be a problem for you. But for me, it's not. So again, I wanted to show that you can use this even though you don't have a battery or an electric start on a mower. It is possible. You can still run them like this. Make sure you guys, if you're going to order, use that code. I had a bunch of guys from yesterday's video already message me and tell me they ordered, which is great. That's awesome. I know you guys will love it. I know you guys will be big fans of it, using it. That's about all I can say. But use the code Countryside10 if you want to save. Like I said before, you don't have to. I don't get anything out of it. But if you want to save some money in ordering your stuff, then go ahead and use it. If you have any questions, by all means, message me. But stay tuned for the other 2 videos coming up where I mounted on the Exmark Laser Z, where I will be doing it with the foot pedal, and on the SCAG V-Ride 2, which will also have a toggle switch. So thumbs up, thumbs down. Join in the comments below. Join in the conversation below. And so other guys can learn. We can all learn from each other and get to input. And I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure you share this. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you want to share it. Share this video so that it gets out there for anybody else that may have these questions. You can only be helping each other by sharing. So make sure you do that. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.